know that in Khan Younis, this is in the south of the Gaza Strip, people received orders to move from a humanitarian zone. That's a safe zone that Israel told them they should go to because of fighting in another area of the Strip. So this is a pattern that we see repeated. You might remember Khan Younis. If you think you do, you're right. There were fierce clashes there earlier, months ago, until Israel said that it had defeated the battalions, the Hamas battalions who were there, and it withdrew its troops. That's its policy. It doesn't stay around waiting to be attacked from under the ground. What that means is, though, that as civilians return, the militants return and place themselves among them. Israel says it had precise intelligence that there were Hamas and Hezbollah and, Islamic Jihad militants in that area. And so what you see is a process of continuous displacement. These are people who are taking their children, the few bags they have, less and less each time, their old folk, their grandparents, their parents, and just moving in this summer heat continuously. And that's why I think we've seen so much pressure for a ceasefire. The head of UNRWA, the UN refugee organization, said that these people have lost everything and they need everything. And that, I think, is an accurate summary, despite what many criticisms that are leveled at UNRWA. That's an accurate summary of the situation of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. You know, some of them support Hamas, others don't, and they have no say.
And where do we stand in terms of these ceasefire talks then? Because there's growing calls to get that moving along, but it's also a very volatile time with Israel still bracing for retaliation from Iran and its allies.
That's right. It is a very volatile time. People are calling this a fateful week. And the reason is there's a conference, a summit, I think you'd call it, with the US, the two mediators, Egypt and Qatar, and the two parties or representatives of the two parties, Israel and Hamas, who are going to be there at a nominated spot to have it out, to reach a decision. If they do, you could be going to a ceasefire. If they don't, you could be going to a regional war. And that's why I feel it is such a significant week. That's why we've heard from the German Chancellor. That's why we've heard from Kamala Harris, the US Vice President. She said that there is, Israel does have the right to defend itself against Hamas, but it also has an obligation to protect civilians. And I think that's why we're seeing the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas going to Egypt from the Palestinian capital, from Ramallah, going to Moscow to talk to the Russian leader. So that it's a massive diplomatic push, one last diplomatic push perhaps, to avoid a regional war, because really if the war in Gaza is solved, it solves a lot of other issues in the region.